For the first time in 2017, if it's Monday night, oh, yes, it is Ridiculously Raw. Hello, friends. It is Anthony. It is Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio. So pumped up and excited to be with you for another exciting year of Ridiculously Raw. And I got to tell you, folks, I mean, what an ending we just had here tonight. And I cannot wait to get into that with you here all tonight. So Happy New Year, my friends. And it is going to be another exciting year of Ridiculously Raw action for all of you here tonight. And I'm looking forward to bringing it all with you here tonight. Good old MF Michael Fletcher is here. We got the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson here. So excited to have you with us, Didi. I'm so happy you're here tonight. And unfortunately, I'm not sure about Michael Bullock. Well, he's going to join us, but he's going to be coming in a little bit late. So we'll catch him up on what he missed when he comes in. So without any further ado, let's dive right on into it. The first Monday Night Raw of 2017. It was live from the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. The home, of course, of the Tampa Bay Lightning on the USA Network. And, well, I will say it like this, though. I mean, there will be cutouts galore, unfortunately. Maybe not the best show, but I will say it like this, though. There were some moments, and what we just witnessed a moment ago, yeah, we're ready. So with that being said, let's dive on in, folks. And we started it off with an in-ring segment, of course. We had the Universal Champion Kevin Owens along with Chris Jericho, and they ran their mouths and all that, and then they were interrupted by Mick Foley. Well, actually, it was Mick Foley in the ring. I stand corrected. I'm just so pumped up about what happened at the end of the show tonight. I got to tell you that. But anyways, let me try that again. Mick Foley, the general manager of Monday Night Raw, a clean cut Mick Foley. He no longer has that wild hair and that long scraggly beard, which I thought was pretty cool. But no, he's clean cut. He's got a haircut. He shaved a little bit of the beard off. He's got like a goatee now, so looking good. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, they do show up. They do interrupt Mick Foley, and then eventually Stephanie McMahon comes out and basically makes the agenda for the show. And well, there were a couple of announcements that were made, a couple of big matches that were announced for this show. First up, we had Seth Rollins going up against Kevin Owens, and the loser would be banned from this match for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns defending against Chris Jericho, and the loser of Reigns and Owens would be banned. Rollins and Owens would be barred from ringside. So, all right, how do we feel about this? Well, let me just say like this: this was the second best segment of the night, no question about it. I mean, everybody played their parts well. I mean, Owens and Jericho continue to be the best thing going on Monday Night Raw right now. I mean, they are, the most entertaining duo you can think of on television right now. I mean, you hear the pops they get each and every night, and this was no exception. I mean, what else is there for me to say? I mean, these two guys. I mean, you talk about great duos in the history of the business. I mean, look at D-Generation X. You look at D-Generation X was far and away the most entertaining duo of all time. But these two guys are definitely right on the cusp of that. But Owens and Rollins will be good. But haven't we seen it enough already? And it leads into our first match of the evening in Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins right here and now. Let's do it. So we had a great match. It went 15 minutes and 49 seconds, and the winner was Seth Rollins via disqualification, which means Kevin Owens, you're barred from that United States Heavyweight Championship match against Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho. And the thing is, if Roman Reigns were to be counted out or disqualified, Roman Reigns would lose the United States Heavyweight Championship. So a lot on the line in Reigns and Jericho, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on here on this show. But all right, as far as the fight goes, okay match, but it felt like a rerun. Owens and Jericho continue to be treated like a running gag instead of the top heels on the show. All four of the main event competitors on this show are actively harmed by WWE's booking approach because Rollins gains nothing from this either. So it's really all I can say on that. But the fight was still very good, though. I'm still going to give it a solid 3 stars for the effort. I'm going to call it one of the fights of the night, not the fight of the night by any means. So, yeah, so the segment, second best of the night. And then the match was, I could also say maybe second best. I mean, it was second best. The segment was second best. The fight was second best. That's all I can say on that. So 3 stars for that. So with that being said, let's bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher, the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk. And MF, Happy New Year. And your thoughts on this first 2-for-1 segment of our new year.
All right. Thank you very much. And yes, indeed, Happy New Year to everybody out there. I hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve. And, I hope that the first and second day of 2017 has been pretty good for you guys. I'm going to say this. It was okay. I liked the segment. I liked everything about it. Stephanie was great. Foley was great, of course. Everybody involved were amazing, as always. But I'm going to be a little bit on the negative side of it because of the fact that I didn't like how the fight ended. I think it was a cheesy DQ finish, which I think that was a little bit of a stupidity more than anything else. Basically, what happened, Owens used the ring bell on Seth Rollins, and that caused for the DQ finish. I think that was a little bit of a, I'm going to say a little bit of a stupid, idiot move. I don't understand why it is. I agree with your assessment that, it is kind of a rerun. We've seen all 4 of these guys intertwined, and I'm getting to the point where enough is enough. I'm sorry, Anthony. I disagree with you. I can only give this about maybe 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. I can't give it the full 3, even though, yes, it was entertaining, but the ending sucks. I'm tired of this storyline. And on top of that, Mick Foley, you look like a freaking moron with that haircut. I'm sorry. I'm going to call you out on that too. So, I didn't see nothing good out of the start of Monday Night Raw. Sorry. Didi Woodson, it's yours.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Everybody, Happy New Year. Yeah, it's unusual that I'm on Raw. Found a way through various means to watch Raw tonight while it works. So that's why I'm here. So thank God for Sky Sports in the UK, because that's pretty much where most of my watching came from. The segment, I will agree, second best of the night. As for the match, I wasn't real crazy about it either. I'm rating it a 2-star. The match was good until you got to that ending, and it was just a bad ending. It was dumb, stupid. I don't know where they came up with the idea for it, but it just wasn't what you would expect from Kevin Owen. And I'll agree with Fletch. It's getting old, so I'll just pass it over to Florio.
Yes, indeed. And I got to retract my statement a little bit here. I'm actually going to agree with you guys, and I'm actually going to give that 2 stars. And I got to say, it was a dumbass decision. The wrestler Kevin Owens wouldn't make that mistake. Really bad endings. So, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. So, I do stand corrected. So, with that being said, let's move on to our next matchup on the night. One-on-one matchup. We had one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Cesaro, going up against the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson. Their respective partners were at ringside. Well, Sheamus was on commentary, but he would eventually get to ringside along with Luke Gallows. And, well, it turned out that actually played a big part in the bout, because Carl Anderson pulls the upset. Anderson gets the victory at 13 minutes and 53 seconds after a top rope neck breaker for the 1, 2, 3. So I think we've got the first challengers for Cesaro and Sheamus in the tag team titles. So MF, I'm going to bring you on in because this is actually relevant stuff here. Carl Anderson defeats Cesaro in about 14 minutes. So is it just me, or do we have our first challengers for Cesaro and Sheamus on the Raw tag belts?
No, you're absolutely right, Anthony. We do indeed have new contenders for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship, and it is indeed going to be Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows getting this opportunity. And I gotta say it, this one was an eye opener. I really thought this was better than even expected, because when you see these two guys together, you're thinking, I don't know if they're really gonna deliver, if they're gonna deliver in the clutch. You never know. But I really feel that this storyline might be good. It's interesting to see. I liked how this played out, and it actually worked. So I mean, this deserves the 3 stars. Then um than what you were saying about earlier. Even though you amended it, and which was the right thing to do, this fight here actually is worthy of 3-star status. I thought this was really entertaining. This was a good fight. Yes, there was a little bit of some chicanery at the end, but it didn't affect it enough in order for the outcome to be what it was. Meaning, yes, there was a little interference, but there was no DQ finish. It was a clean victory. Yes, there was a distraction, but it didn't take away from the finish. This is 3-star caliber. This is worthy of second best fight of the night. As a matter of fact, I could even go as far to call it the fight of the night, at least in my eyes. But I don't think it's completely there. But this could be like a 1A, 1B situation. But this definitely deserves 3-star status, and I'm giving it 3 stars. So, Didi Woodson, my dear, it is all yours, love.
Yeah, I'll pretty much kind of agree with that. I'll go 2 3/4 to 3 stars. It definitely was a lot better of a bout than the first one, and a lot more match worthy. I mean, yeah, you had the partners on the outside, but I mean, these two pretty much just went at it, and gave it their all. And like you said, there's no clunky finishes or anything in it, so I'm excited to see these two have their little tag team feud for the titles coming up. So, Florio, it's yours.
I'll give you my thoughts on the upcoming feud in just a moment, but let me just give you my thoughts on the bout. I'm actually going to give it 3 1/4 stars. That's what I'm going to give it. 3 1/4, maybe even 3.5, based out of personal enjoyment. But I think I'm going to give it 3 1/4 stars, though. Anderson and Cesaro put on an entertaining match. I would like to see Anderson and Gallows do something truly evil, though. Enough of these heels that call people dorks and are a general nuisance. Baby faces should have motivation to get angry, and we don't see it nearly often enough. But that being said, let me just give you a quick thought about the upcoming tag feud. I wouldn't be surprised if we get this at the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised if they put this on the Rumble, because remember, 4-hour event at the end of this month on the 29th. Once we get to the Alamo Dome, and you need a way to fill it up. I mean, or then again, you could put it on. You could put it on the kickoff show if you want. So that's really all I can say. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see any or all 4 of these guys in the Royal Rumble match. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. So that's really all I can say on that. So 3 1/4 stars on my scorecards. So with that, let's keep the action going. No cutouts yet, but don't worry, there will be. But this was not a cutout, though. The last man standing match: Sami Zayn, Braun Strowman. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 56 seconds, Braun Strowman. Roar. So with that being said, Didi Woodson, your thoughts on this last man standing match?
Wow, this match. I mean, I was very impressed, especially with Zayn. I mean, every chance he had that Strowman thought he was down, I mean, he fought his way back out of it, to the point that even at one point we thought Sami would pull stops and win it, and course, that didn't happen, but I was very impressed with this match. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars for the match. I mean, even after the match was over, you still had Strowman going after Zayn, knocking the gurney down. You had even Foley out there, checking on Zayn and everything, making sure he's okay. So, not much more I can say about that. I mean, it was just, it was one of those matches that, would definitely catch your attention, jumping off of the stage through tables, being up around the announce table that's up by the stage. I mean, it just, wow. I was just really impressed, especially seeing Zayn putting whelps on Strowman from that kendo stick. So, not much more I can say, so just move on.
Now, this was the fight of the night right here. I don't care what anybody says. If anybody wants to debate me on this, go ahead. But honestly, this was the fight of the night. And who would have ever thought I would say a Braun Strowman match would be the fight of the night? And guess what? It was. I mean, last man standing, Sami Zayn. That's what it took to do it. And wow. Fun example of a walking brawl from Zayn and Strowman. They can get overdone quickly, but I think it made for a better match in this case, as Strowman just isn't going to make a long-form match entertaining without some shortcuts. Zayn, despite losing, actually gained something here, but getting in a surprising amount of offense, and the conclusion leaves no doubt about Strowman's ruthlessness and disregard for his opponents. Well done all around. So if I'm going to rate this, I'm actually going to agree with Didi's rating. I'm going to give it a solid 3.5 stars. And no question about it for me, this was the fight of the night. And I may be a technical guy, but I love a good hardcore match once in a while. And it doesn't get any more hardcore than Last Man Standing. And the lengths these two guys went through, I mean, Sami Zayn especially, I mean, he's the epitome of the word underdog. Although I could say the same thing about myself. I consider myself an underdog in life. And Sami Zayn, I mean, he showed the heart, he showed the guts, he showed the determination. He may have gone down, but he went down swinging, and he didn't go down without a fight. And he took it to the big man, and I'm glad he did. And he may not have won, but to me, it was a moral victory for all underdogs all over the world. So bravo, Sami Zayn, well done. And to Braun Strowman, let me tell you something. This is going to be his year. I think at some point this year, Strowman's going to get a championship. I don't know what kind of championship he's going to get. I think he could ultimately get the big belt down the line, but I'm telling you, this year is going to be the year of Braun Strowman. They're very high on him. They're giving him a major push, and we just saw an example of that tonight. And the sky's the limit for Braun Strowman. And you know what? I've been high on the guy since he debuted. I mean, his second night on the job, I was there. At the Dunkin' Donuts Center for the SmackDown taping, August of 2015. I was there. That was his second night on the job, and television doesn't do him justice. You got to see this guy in person. He's scary in person. Let me tell you that right now. So, wow, that was one hell of a last man standing match, and it definitely ranks up there as one of the great last man standing matches in history. Not the greatest, but one of the greatest. So, to me, that was the fight of the night. No question about that. So 3.5 stars. MF, how about that last man standing match, huh?
It was a good match. I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about it. Yeah, I agree. Fight of the night, no doubt about that. This was a solid match. I will admit it was a little hard to see or a little hard to watch, especially at the end. But man, give it up for both men. And Sami Zayn, the underdog from the underground, and one of my favorite guys, they really let him go tonight. And I gotta say, Strowman did really well. He looked like the monster heel. He was gonna be that guy that was gonna destroy you, do any way that he could. But the thing was, and what made this so amazing and awesome, was that it gave you the feel of a great match. And what it was basically, it was that ultimate David versus Goliath type storyline, and you really were pulling for Zayn, but you knew the inevitable was going to happen. But it was still entertaining, and both men came out really good in this fight. And that's one thing I think we can both agree on, that all of us can agree on. It's not that just Strowman looked good or Zayn looked good. They both came out great. Sammy, won the crowd with his killer, never die attitude. Keep fighting, keep scrapping, keep clawing, keep going. Push yourself to the limit. And for Strowman, he looks like a monster badass, and he looks so strong, so powerful that good luck to anybody that stands in his way. And I mean, they both came out looking like $1,000,000 tonight, and that's a very rare feat to do in professional wrestling, especially in WWE, because a lot of the times they like to bury the younger, smaller guys, a la Daniel Bryan, some other guys, and normally it's the fan base that kind of pushes the little guy. Where tonight, I think we can all agree here, they both came out looking great on this. So it wasn't just you not only had one winner, they both came out looking like winners tonight. Fight of the night, 3.5 stars. No argument with that. Let's move on to the next segment.
All right, and let's see what we have next up here on this inaugural show of 2017. Okay, now we finally have a cutout here because, and it's not often that a 2-for-1 is a cutout, but guess what? It is. And you know what? I'm gonna say it like this: out of way too much love and respect for good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, I am not even gonna have them dignify what I'm about to get into here. Okay, we have the New Day coming out. That's cool, yada yada. But okay, what they were gonna do is, they were gonna talk about their New Year's resolutions for 2017, yada yada. But you think that, if that wasn't bad enough, it gets worse. And oh gosh, Titus O'Neil. First, Titus O'Neil mocks the New Day's entrance. I mean, if that wasn't bad enough. And then this segment, oh God. I mean, New Day stock is currently cratering after being put in a feud with Titus O'Neil. All kidding aside, Titus is terrible, but that segment, oh Lord. That was, in one word, brutal. I'm going to channel my inner Colin Cowherd here. That was brutal. And let me tell you that right now. I mean, that was as stale as moldy bread. Let's not kid ourselves. And oy, wow. Hopefully they move on from that after one match, as that it could get all kinds of terrible in a hurry. And guess what? It leads into a match. Titus O'Neil goes up against Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods wins the bout in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Yeah. Lots of cringe there. The match between Titus and Woods was just kind of there. Nobody cared, and they didn't have any reason to. So that's honestly really all I can say on that. So, but, as far as the match is concerned, I mean, I will give it 1.5 for the effort, but it was just, no. Absolutely, positively not. Get the you-know-what out of here with that stuff, please. And then we move on to a cruiserweight match. Cedric Alexander going up against Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak wins the match in 2 minutes and 12 seconds, pulling the tights and getting the win. Yeah, another cutout here. No rating to a dud. The old distraction with temporary referee blindness finish gets him every time. No further comments. So I'm just gonna move on to that. So okay, now we can get back into relevant stuff here. United States Heavyweight Championship match. We had Roman Reigns defending against Chris Jericho. Remember, Kevin Owens barred from ringside. And winner of the match in 14 minutes and 18 seconds. And still, your United States Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns, wins the match. And, of course, he hits the spear and everything else. And, okay. Another one of my top fights of the night. I'm going to give it 3 stars for the effort. Maybe I'm sour because I kind of wanted to see a Jericho win, but I didn't really like that ending. But the match was still very good, though. I mean, there were a couple of spots in the bout where the crowd came alive. The stipulations and gimmicks helped shake up the formula enough that the match was entertaining to watch. I'm not really excited to see this match again anytime soon, but it was entertaining for what it was. And we talked about it earlier with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I mean, it's been done to death. It's starting to get tired and played out, even though they've had some good matches. Same can be said here. I mean, the matches these two guys have are good. It's just that we've already seen this. We need to move on. And this is one of the reasons why SmackDown Live is better than Monday Night Raw. I mean, they give us fresh matchups, whereas here on Raw, it's almost like the same old story, same old song and dance. I mean, we've seen it before. I want to see some fresh feuds here. Is that too much to ask? I guess apparently it is. But I will give it 3 stars for the effort. So there's really nothing left for me to say on that. I'm just going to move it on to good old MF Michael Fletcher. So MF, Reigns and Jericho for the 11 billionth time for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns wins it, retains the title. So 14 minutes and 18 seconds. Your thoughts on the latest chapter of Reigns and Jericho? It's been done. Move on.
I remember the rant I went on earlier this evening. You already need to know what I said. I don't even need to add to that. As far as the fight goes, this was a good match. Solid fight. 3 stars. That's it. Didi, what's in this yours?
Yeah, 3 stars. But yeah, it's been done to death. So nothing more to say.
All right, fair enough. And now we move on to our we have a second cruiserweight match. And speaking of it's been done, let's move on. We get it again here. The Brian Kendrick against TJ Perkins. TJP wins the match in 4 minutes and 38 seconds after the knee bar. And let me just say it like this. The cruiserweight division feels like less of an afterthought now that Neville is getting some attention in video packages. But these matches continue to be produced at the same pace as other matches on the card. It leads to the feeling that it's just any other match, just with smaller competitors. I'm struggling to grasp the strategy in homogenizing the approach to match building. I mean, that's really all I can say on it. But for the effort, I'm going to give it between 2 and 2.5 stars for the effort. So that's really all I can say on it. So I don't know if you two want to dive in on it.
I'll take a swing at this. I'm with you, Florio. I'll give this about 2 to 2.25 stars. I mean, it was okay. I just like the chemistry between D. Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins. I think it's a nice rivalry. It's a nice storyline. I think they work really well together. There's nothing bad about it. Now, like you said, I think with the addition of Adrian Neville on that cruiserweight division, it's a real shot in the arm because now you got a real monster heel on the division and a guy who I truly believe will become the cruiserweight champion of the world at the Royal Rumble, because I truly believe that they're going to make Neville versus Rich Swann as that key fight, and I think Neville's going to win the belt in at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And you really need a face of that division. I think Neville's that guy. I think they're just grooming him to get to that point, because right now he's come out like gangbusters right now, and I love the fact. I can't wait to see it. A really good match going down tomorrow night on 205 Live. Neville versus Perkins. That looks like that could be an amazing match, to say the very least. Nothing more to say there. 2 to 2.25 stars. Didi, I'll give it to you if you want to take it or not.
In my opinion, I think I would rather see the match that's going to be on the other show than this match, because, I mean, how many more times do we have to see the same thing over and over and over and over again? I mean, we've talked about in the past ho-hum diva fights. Well, now we're having ho-hum cruiserweight fights where you're getting the same competitors when they've got tons more, in the back burner back there that they could be bringing up. And I mean, we've had Neville come out to interrupt matches, but why haven't we seen him back on Raw doing a match? So that's my opinion on it. As far as a rating, I'll be generous, give it 2.5 stars for an effort, but I'm tired of it. Bullock is protesting it, so if it keeps up, that may be what I'll be doing too. So just move on.
Yeah, fair enough. Michael, of course, as if for those of you who may not know, Michael Bullock, our other colleague, is currently boycotting the cruiserweight division, and will be not talking about or giving opinions on cruiserweight matches until he sees something, that appeals to him. But unfortunately, that's not going to be happening anytime soon. And you know what? That doesn't seem like a half a bad idea, MF. I mean, Adrian Neville against Rich Swann for the cruiserweight championship at the Rumble. Sign me up. I'm down with that. I mean, it's a 4-hour event. I mean, you need to fill it. So that's all I can say on that. So, all right, back to the cutouts here. We had a handicap match. Rusev and Jinder Mahal 2-on-1 against Big Cass. Of course, Enzo Amore, for those of you who don't know, was injured at the Raw house show in Los Angeles at the Staples Center this past weekend, and was deemed unable to compete. So Big Cass had to go it alone against Rusev and Jinder Mahal. Of course, Rusev and Jinder Mahal win the bout. I don't really have a time of the fall, but no rating to a dud. Another no rating to a dud here. Jinder Mahal looks like a dope at this point, but the program is so bad. This program is so bad. Enzo and Cass look completely bored to death. It's unfortunate that they've cooled off to the level they have. WWE has given other one-note acts a lot more opportunity. And you want to talk about, an entertaining duo. I mean, I talked about it with Owens and Jericho and DX. I mean, here's another entertaining duo, Enzo and Cass. And here's a couple of guys who deserve way better than what they're getting right now. I mean, it's just a damn shame to see, how over they were in NXT. And, they're over with the fans. I mean, the fans love them. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, they're over like we're over, but they're being put in meaningless feuds. And this is a meaningless feud here. I mean, no, I'm sorry. So, all right. Now, normally this would be a cutout bout because of the time of the fall, but I feel like this does actually need to be addressed here because the next match we had was a women's match, a number one contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship. It's Bayley going, and along with her wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men, going up against Nia Jax. The winner will face Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. Winner of the match in 3 minutes and 39 seconds. It's Bayley. Bayley does it. Bayley wins the match. A distraction by Sasha Banks, allowing her to Bayley to belly Nia Jax from the second rope and get the 1-2-3. So Bayley is the number one contender. She will now face Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. I don't know who should be leading off on this one. I don't know if it's me or if it's MF.
I think it's me because you've been leading off. I think you led off on the last major story.
Yeah, I only let off on the cruiserweights because I thought it was going to be a cutout because I wasn't sure about you guys. But all right, yeah, that's fair enough. MF, we'll start it off with you here. Short match, but I feel it needs to be addressed because we got ourselves a major women's championship match coming up at the Rumble. Charlotte, Flair, and Bayley in San Antonio in front of 60,000 screaming fans in the Dome. What?
Well, this was expected. We all knew this was going to happen. But lo and behold, we're not going to have one match over there. We might have two fights because look at what just happened. We got storyline progression on Raw tonight, folks. Sasha Banks cost Nia Jax the number one contendership. That means you're going to have a Nia versus Sasha thing going. And then, of course, Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. And look at the storyline that they're doing with Charlotte. Undefeated in 2016 in pay-per-view of matches. In all matches, or in 2016, she was 14-2. No, 16-2 in the minimum of 20 matches. So you're already getting that flair of how great she was in 2016, or how great she was in big fights, in big matches. So of course they're setting her up to be that she was the queen, that she was, we admit it, and I know I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but she is the female wrestler of the year in 2016. I think there's no argument here. Look at the numbers, look at the body of work, look at what Charlotte did. As much as we may say, maybe it could go to somebody else, there's nobody else in her level. There was nobody else in her realm that's close to greatness. So I'm sorry, to me, check mark Charlotte Flair as my female superstar of the year. So now you got Bayley, who is, and I really wish we could have gotten into this, but Stephanie was really being a stone cold biatch to Bayley over what happened last week, because Bayley made a stink to Stephanie about, well, why was Dana Brooke the referee? This and that. And she's like, hey, the lawyers came after me. If I didn't cater to what they were going to do, they were going to sue me. I don't want a lawsuit on my head. I got to do what I got to do. And she really kind of was playing that, I'm sorry, Bayley, but you got no business being in this division, being anywhere near this belt. And I'm like, really, Steph? You're throwing Bayley under? I'm like, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, this would never happen on SmackDown Live. Bayley, I know you're Raw. I know you're Raw. You're Raw. But if this is how you're going to get treated, come to Team Blue. We appreciate our women over there. But so Bayley then now gets the opportunity. The Bayley to Belly was an amazing maneuver, but again, predictable finish. We knew it was going to happen. I didn't know how they were going to get to it, but once you infiltrated Sasha, I'm like, oh, I think we're going to have I think I know how this is going to play out. Sure enough, I was like, I kind of had this, I hate to do this to you, and I don't want to do it, but we saw Super Bayley here tonight. She pulled somewhat a la a Super Cena routine, just an amazing maneuver. Second rope makes it a little more amazing because it's a top rope maneuver of a typical finish job. 1, 2, 3, she gets it. Like I said, predictable booking, but the right girl won it, deserving victory. And like I said, we also got storyline progression, which is actually something that Raw doesn't do that often, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll tip my cap to that as well. So good match, solid fight, predictable ending, and nice finish. So Dee, I'll give it to you.
What was your rating?
I'll give this about 2 stars.
Yeah, that sounds about right. What, I'm not going to say it's a ho-hum diva fight because, they did get something done in the match that, like you said, the storyline progression and adding the extra notch in what's going on with Sasha and Nia Jax from, what I've been seeing. So, other than, the storyline progression and pretty much knowing that Bayley was going to win it, there's not much more to say on it. Like I said, I'll agree with Fletch on the 2 stars. So it's yours, Florio.
Yes. I'm going to give it 1.5 stars for the effort. Not much of a match, but it does the job to set Banks versus Jax and Bayley versus Charlotte. Jax is also protected, having to be distracted and take a supersized finish before losing. So that's really all I can say on that. So So yeah, I mean Banks versus Jax definitely. I don't know if okay, we know the Rumble's a 4-hour show, but I'm sure maybe the pre-show will probably be a 2-hour show. I'm sure they'll probably start the kickoff show at 5. I'm sure, and if they do that, I could see them putting at least 2, maybe 3 bouts on that show, just like they did with Survivor Series. I think they had like 3 bouts on the Survivor Series pre-show, so I could see maybe Nia Jax and Sasha Banks being one of them, because you know they're going to want to say Bayley and Charlotte for the main card, and all I can say is I got a great feeling about that match. I really do. And Charlotte was undefeated in one-on-one pay-per-view matches in 2016. Overall on pay-per-view, her career pay-per-view record is 18-2, which is the best mark for any superstar, man or woman, in a minimum of 20 matches. So you think about all the legends and Hall of Famers that have competed, not just on the women's side, but on the men's side too. 18-2 in 20 matches on pay-per-view. That's amazing. And of course, you know she's going to be the heavy favorite going into that match against Bayley for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. So, but you never know. You never know. They could pull the trigger. They could put the belt on Bayley. You never know. So, with that being said, now we move on to the main event of the evening, the first installment of the Kevin Owens show, and of course Jericho is with him. The special guest, Goldberg, Bill Goldberg. Yes, and well, a lot happened during this segment. A lot. Owens and Jericho did their usual shtick, and then of course you had Goldberg come out, and then lo and behold, here comes Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman shows up, and he promotes about Brock Lesnar and the whole thing, and then Roman Reigns, he shows up. But wait, there's more. Braun Strowman shows up, and then all hell breaks loose. Okay. Dee Whitson, what do we think about all this mayhem that ended this first Raw of 2017? My Lord. Edie Whitson, we're going to start this with you. What a way to close out this first Raw of the new year with all this craziness and mayhem with the Kevin Owens show and Goldberg and the whole 9 yards. So, Dee, are you with us? Did we lose her? I guess we lost her, but I guess we lost her for the minute. But I'll take it here. No question about it. This was the segment of the night. I mean, whoa, a lot to digest during that segment, or a whole lot to digest. I mean, all these guys coming out and the whole 9 yards, and I couldn't believe how exciting that was. And and one other thought on the women's match. I mean, they needed a shortcut to give Bayley a victory, but I'm not sure I'd have given anyone a pinfall victory over Nia Jax at that point. It should have been saved for a big moment, and there is no stuffing the toothpaste back in the tube on that one. But we'll have to wait and play and see on the program. I don't think they took enough time and effort to turn Bayley into a successful character on the main roster. Her lack of fire earlier in the show was a little troubling, as well as seemingly taking no issue with getting an assist and earning her title opportunity. But as far as the segment goes, a busy segment to close the show. I liked the interaction between Goldberg and Owens, as it was the first time he's shown a spine in a while. Reigns and Goldberg didn't do anything for anyone, as it got a polite response, but not an overwhelming one for their stare down. Assing out Strowman there doesn't really hurt him in the long run, considering what it took to put him down, and it sent the crowd home happy. So that's really all I can say on that. And segment of the night, and it added some heat to the Rumble. It felt as if it should have been the final segment of the go. You know what? You really could have saved this for the go home show, really. But I don't think Braun Strowman should have been taken out after the effort put into him earlier in the evening. But thankfully, it took 2 guys to get him out. I would have had Jericho talk smack and take that to close the show. But that was one hell of a segment, though, to close out this final Raw of 2017. So segment of the night, no question about it. New entrance into the Rumble match. Braun Strowman has thrown his name into the Rumble match. Chris Jericho has thrown his name into the Rumble match. New Day has thrown their name into the Rumble match. So the Rumble list has definitely grown quite considerably, considering for the last several weeks it had been just Goldberg and Lesnar. But we got some major additions to the Royal Rumble match tonight. Good. Now we got to start building this sucker. So, segment of the night for me. So, MF, your thoughts on all that craziness to end this first Raw of 2017?
No,
Man.
that was amazing. That was a great. That's what you have to do at the end. Give us something to whet our appetite. Give us something to talk about. Give us something that would make us say, "Wow, that was a great way to close it," and that was perfect. I love the way that they were talking about. Look at Owens, how angry he was at Jericho, saying, "Oh, Jericho, you just added your name to the Royal Rumble." That's not right, because that means if you win the Rumble, you got to fight me at WrestleMania. Again, people are forgetting, unless they're not making that decree about if you win the Rumble that you get the choice. I guess if you win the Royal Rumble, you automatically fight that brand's champion. So that takes everything out of play, instead of the Rumble winner's prerogative. If you win the Royal Rumble, if you're on the Raw side of Raw, if you win the Royal Rumble for Monday Night Raw, then you go after the Universal Champion. If you win the Royal Rumble and you're a SmackDown superstar, you automatically fight for the WWE title. That actually is a departure from the traditional way that they used to do it with the brand extension. That was, if you won the Royal Rumble, you had the option of challenging for whatever belt you saw fit at WrestleMania. So it really threw a monkey wrench in there. So it really does become more important and more prevalent now. If you win the Royal Rumble, but you saw all the guys are in it. Normally, when you're a tag team, it's every person for themselves. How are they going to do that unless they have a moment where they can come together as a unit and work together? That's always a major advantage in a Rumble. But you got some beef in there. Goldberg, Lesnar, now Braun Strowman has entered their name. I mean, you're going to have some heavy-duty hitters in there this time around. Like the late Gorilla Monsoon would say, I hope they reinforce the ring for this one, because with the heap of humanity in this Royal Rumble, this is going to be really, really, really fun to see this year. So definitely the sky is the limit, but this was an amazing way. I love how they kind of did that poking of the seed, or planting of the seeds of a Goldberg Roman Reigns. That's something that a fantasy booking would like to see, but I really, really doubt we'll ever see Roman Reigns, Bill Goldberg fighting, in a match. That's like a WrestleMania dream fight more than anything else. But no, that I thought when you saw those two in the ring together with that moment, that was oh my God, how awesome would that be? But I don't think you're gonna get it. That was kind of a nostalgia moment. That was almost like when Cena and Rock got together, and people were like, oh my God, let them fight. I think that's what you got. It was just one of those moments. Both men were there, and you're thinking, oh my God, what if these two actually did throw down? How awesome would that be? So, nothing more to say about it. And oh my, we got a guest. Hello, Bullock's in the house. All right. First off, should we toss it to Didi, or what do you want to do, Florio? It's all yours. I'm done.
I don't know if Didi, hopefully she's back up and running. I don't know what's going on with her. Well, okay, we lost her, but I'm sure we'll get her back in just a matter of moments. I would like to get her thoughts on that final segment, but you know what? While we're waiting for her to come back, let's catch Michael Bullock up on what he missed tonight. So, Phenom, Michael Bullock, come on in. We're gonna catch you up now on, I mean, perfect timing. I mean, I thought we were gonna miss you on this one, but all right. Well, while we wait for Didi to get back in, we're gonna catch Bullock up here real quick. We started it off with a 2-for-1 segment. We had an opening segment, Mick Foley in the ring, interrupted by Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho and Stephanie McMahon, setting the agenda for the show. And then it led into a match with Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins, where the loser would be banned from the U.S. title match with Reigns and Jericho. Rollins won it in 15 minutes and 49 seconds. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on that 2-for-1 segment? And guess what, folks? Mike here.
Yeah, well, of course, before we talk about that, people are probably wondering why Anthony Florio was saying that, but obviously it was from an episode of Fuller House where where the late Alan Thicke was a guest on Fuller House, and he coined the phrase "Mike here" every time. So if you haven't seen it, and if you got Netflix, you definitely got to check it out. So yeah, so enough said on that. But as far as the segment goes, I thought this was a good opening segment. I mean, basically, Mick Foley, of course, basically welcoming everybody to the first Raw of the new year, and basically saying, you know what? Said, you know what, tonight the Kevin Owens, well, of course, Jericho and Owens comes down, and Foley says, you know what? The Kevin Owens show will actually be a talk show, and his guest tonight will be Goldberg. And then, and just as this happens, and then Stephanie McMahon comes out, and she says, you know what? Foley is not abusing his power. He has rights to do all this. And she's like, you know what? I wish Foley would have consulted me. So basically enough said on, and basically set up the U.S. title match between Jericho and Reigns, where if Reigns gets disqualified or counted out, Reigns will lose the title. So, and now a match is set up with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, where the loser will be banned from ringside. So as far as the match, what did you say the time of the fall was, Florio?
15 minutes and 46 seconds.
All right, I thought this was a really good match to start off the matches portion of Raw. So I'll give it about I'll give it 3.5 to maybe 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, I thought this was a great way to set up for what was to come later on in the night. So nice work by both men. So that being said, Florio, let's move on to our next matchup.
I was slightly off. 15 minutes and 49 seconds was the time of the match. But move on to our next match. And don't worry, I'm going to spare you on the cutoffs. So don't worry about that. This is not a cutoff though. Cesaro went 1-on-1 with Carl Anderson, and Carl Anderson won the match in 13 minutes and 53 seconds. So how about that? Anderson beats Cesaro in 13:53 bullets. So I think we have new challenges for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Yeah, I mean, surprising outcome and a surprising good match here. I mean, originally I thought this was going to be a short match, but I thought this was good for what it was. I'll give it about 3 stars. 3 to 3.25 for my rating. I mean, nice body of work from both men, and yeah, Carl Anderson gets a huge win, and I think this is definitely going to put Gallus and Anderson in line for a shot at the Raw Tag Team titles. When will it happen? I think it could happen at the Royal Rumble, but we'll wait and see. But 3 to 3.25 stars is my rating on the match. So, Florio, it is yours.
Last man, and now we're going to get into the heart of the show tonight, Bullock. The match that we were looking forward to going into this show tonight. The last man standing match, Sami Zayn against Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman won it in 16 minutes and 56 seconds. What a fight this was.
Yeah, I mean, what a match this was. I mean, I'm going to give it about another 3.5 star. I mean, 3.5 to maybe 4 stars. I mean, I thought this was a very good last man standing match, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought both men looked really good, and boy, it was brutal at times. And Sammy kept getting backed up, and basically Braun Strowman would beat the crap out of him, and it took until basically where he hits another power slam, and that's when we finally get the 10 count, and Braun Strowman gets the win, and basically he wasn't finished yet. I mean, he basically attacked Sami Zayn again and threw him into the barricade, and basically was shouting ashes to ashes and dust to dust. So yeah, so nothing else to say on it, but a very good match. So yeah, so really got nothing more to say. So Florio, I give it to you.
All right. We're going to, I'm going to spare you on the cutoffs. I mean, I already got into it. New Day had a segment interrupted by Titus O'Neil, and it led into a match with Titus O'Neil and Xavier Woods. I'm not gonna put you through that agony. Trust me. And then cruiserweight action, Drew Gulak over Cedric Alexander in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. And then, but now I'm going to get you back in for the United States Heavyweight Championship match with Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho. Roman Reigns won that match in 14 minutes and 18 seconds. He's still the U.S. champ. So your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was a little cut off. What were you talking about?
Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho for the United States Heavyweight Championship.
And what was the time of the fall?
14 minutes and 18 seconds. Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, another really good match here, no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it about another 3 to 3.25 stars. So yeah, of course, Roman Reigns, of course, he is still your United States heavyweight champion. So yeah, so really got nothing more to say. So I'm pretty sure you guys touched on everything. So let's move on to the next match.
Well, then it was another cruiserweight match, and of course, we know your decree about the boycott. T.J. Perkins was victorious over the Brian Kendrick in 4 minutes and 38 seconds with the knee bars. So we're going to move on from that. And then you had the handicap match. Big Cass went up against both Jinder Mahal and Rusev. Jinder Mahal winning that. I'm not going to put you through that. But I do want to get your thoughts on this. Bayley went up against Nia Jax in a number one contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship. Bayley won it in 3 minutes and 39 seconds after a distraction from Sasha Banks and a Bayley to belly from the second rope. So Bayley wins it. And guess what, Bullock? We wanted it. We're going to get it. Bayley and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is, the match was short, but boy, oh boy, I mean, all I can say is, yes, we finally got it. Bayley is now your number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship, and all I can say is, it's about time, without a shadow of a doubt. And you know, I'm really hoping that Bayley will win this at the Royal Rumble, but somehow I get this strange feeling that Charlotte is probably going to retain the title. So we'll just have to wait and see, huh?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I really want it to happen because we all know how much we like Bayley, but I just get this bad feeling that Charlotte's going to retain the title.
Yeah,
a la some shenanigans from Dana Brooke.
Yes, and most likely they're going to want to. And remember, Charlotte's outstanding,
undefeated at pay-per-views so far
in one-on-one matches.
Yeah.
So in 18.
But I mean, come on, WWE. I mean, we all know how good Charlotte is, and I mean, the record's good at pay-per-view. What's one loss going to do? I don't think it's going to harm her.
Exactly. So
I think it's time you put that title on Bayley, because to me, she deserves it. She's worked her ass off to get this opportunity, and for them to basically say, no, we're putting Charlotte over, I think is I hate to say it, but pointless, unnecessary, unacceptable, inexcusable, reprehensible, and borderline irresponsible.
And that's exactly how I felt about WWE when they booked that god-awful segment with the New Day and Titus O'Neil. That's exactly how I felt. So
yeah,
all right.
and I'll tell you this right now, if Bayley doesn't win that title, I am going to go off big time.
Okay.
Because that just goes to show you that WWE is kissing the ass of Charlotte.
Okay, fair enough. So now let's move on. I want to get your thoughts, Bullock, on the main event segment. It was the first ever installment of the Kevin Owens show, and the guest, of course, was the man we were waiting for, Goldberg. You know, Bill Goldberg was the guest of Owens and Chris Jericho on the Kevin Owens show. But that wasn't all, Bullock. Guess who else got involved? His name is Paul Heyman. He got involved. Roman Reigns gets involved. And then on top of that, Braun Strowman gets involved. What a crazy way to close out the first Raw of the year. My Lord.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is this was the segment of the night. I mean, basically, Owens and Jericho doing their usual shtick, and basically when everybody was wondering, do you want to see Goldberg? And then Jericho with his usual thing, you know what happens when you chant Goldberg during the Kevin Owens show? Tampa Bay? You just made the list! And Jericho says, you know what? I have some breaking news. Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg are the number 1 and number 2 entrant. Well, guess who's number 3? It's Chris Jericho. Huh?
Well, New Day's in it too, Bullock. All 3 members of New Day are in the.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
And so is Braun Strowman.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, Goldberg. He comes out and basically Goldberg got straight to the point, and Jericho's like, "You're number 3 in the Royal match. That means you're first." And then Owens basically tells Goldberg to have a seat on the chair, and then Goldberg basically grabs the chair and throws it away. He says, and Jericho's like, you know what happens when you throw chairs around? You know what? Goldberg then says, yeah, I know what happens. Spear, jackhammer, that's what happens. And Owens is like, you know what? Am I supposed to be intimidated? And then Owens basically tosses his furniture out of the ring. He gets in the face of Goldberg, and Goldberg tells Kevin Owens, why don't you go ahead and take a shot? And then here comes Paul Heyman. He says, you know what? You want to know what the spoiler is? Eat, sleep, elimination, repeat. And then Goldberg's like, you know what? I'm going to take care of Brock Lesnar at the Rumble. And either Owens and Reigns will have a date with Goldberg at WrestleMania. And Owens like, you know what? You're delusional. And then out comes Roman Reigns. And then Reigns says, you know what? That both of them must be delusional because they're not winning anything at the Rumble. He then turns to Goldberg, and boy, what a moment that is. Goldberg and Roman Reigns going face to face. And you could tell that the crowd was more on Goldberg's side. And then another man comes in, and Braun Strowman says he's in the Royal Rumble match. And then he enters the ring, and he gets a double spear from Braun Strowman. So, gets a double spear. Well, Roman Reigns and Goldberg hit a double spear on Braun Strowman. So, an exciting way to close out the first Raw of 2017. And oh boy, all I can say is next week's Raw is definitely one I'm going to be so excited about. We'll definitely get into that. So, Florio, did you already do the overall thoughts?
No, because we got to get Didi Whitson's thoughts on the main event segment. Oh, Didi Whitson.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry I had to kind of cut out because my relief got there and I had to clock out and all that stuff. So, definitely the segment of the night. Definitely an awesome segment to say the least. Out of everybody that was in that segment, I think Goldberg kind of stole the show there. So that's about all I'm going to say about it. So we can move on to the closing remarks.
Yes. The overall thoughts on this edition of Monday Night Raw, and I believe we started off with MF. So MF, let's get your overall thoughts on this first Raw of the new year.
Fletcher, you there?
don't tell me you have another difficulty here.
That's the last thing we needed.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess we'll start it with. Well, I guess we'll start it off with you, Bullock. Your overall thoughts on this show tonight?
I thought this was a good first Raw of 2017. I mean, the matches I thought were good. I mean, yeah, we did have some cutoffs. You had some very good segments here tonight. So I'm gonna give this about maybe a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 when it comes to this edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, I could go on higher, but I mean, I think some of the cutouts that we had, I thought really killed some of the momentum. But still, I mean, I thought it was a good first Raw, and boy, oh boy, Florio, next week's Raw, it's gonna be one I'm definitely gonna be excited about. Of course, returning to Monday Night Raw, first off, the legendary Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He is returning, and from what I've been hearing, he's going to promote his new movie. That's going to be
the resurrection of Gavin Stone. Yes,
he's going to promote that.
And guess who else is going to be there? And Bullock, who else is going to be there? I think you know this man very well, don't you?
Yeah, I know this man very, very well. This man, the Phenom, the Undertaker, returns to Monday Night Raw for the first time since the final Raw before WrestleMania. What does the dead man have in store for Monday Night Raw next week?
Good question. We don't know.
Well, I mean, we did hear some rumors, and I'm pretty sure you heard it too, Florio, that we think he's going to announce his entrance into the Royal Rumble match.
Why not? I mean, you want to make this the biggest Rumble match ever. I mean, 30th anniversary. I mean, it would be only fitting if you had the Undertaker in there. So
yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
I think so too.
But man, oh man, and I mean, I think the reason why they're doing this is because next week is, of course, the college football playoff national championship game, and of course, it's a rematch from last year's national championship game with Alabama and Clemson. And obviously, Monday Night Raw wanted to do something big to get some butts in the seats and eyes on the screen.
Oh, they did it.
I think they hit a home run with two of probably the greatest superstars of all time, the Hall of Famer HBK and the soon-to-be Hall of Famer, The Undertaker. So, yeah, I mean, to me, I'm definitely putting the pressure on Raw. This needs to be at least a 7 out of 10, because if it's anything bad, I'm going on a major rant come next week.
I don't blame you.
Because you're trying to challenge the college football playoff national championship game next week, and if it's anything bad, the gloves are coming off next week.
Amen to that.
So 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me. Florio.
Well, I'm gonna give it to Dede Woodson now.
All right, Dede Woodson.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. As for looking forward to next week, I want to look forward to next week, but from the way Raw's been going the last few weeks, I think Bullock needs to prepare for his rant, because I don't think we're going to have a very good show. So,
boy, you really don't think it's going to be a good Raw next week?
No. Look at what we've had the last few weeks, and look at all the cutouts we've had. Look at all the cutouts we've had tonight. I mean, I'm not going to give it a high rating.
You got the Undertaker coming on next week. You got Shawn Michaels. You don't think it's going to be a good show?
I'm not going to give it a high rating just because they have two special guests. Let's put it that way. They have to actually have matches that will impress me, not matches and bullshit matches like they did tonight. if they have the same kind of crap that we've had, where you have all these interruptions and these DQ matches and all this crap, then no, I'm not going to be impressed with it. I'm not going to give it a high rating just because Undertaker and HBK are there. Like I said, I want to look forward to it because of those two, but from the history I've been seeing with Raw, I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be impressive. They probably will lose out to the college football. I mean, Stephanie already said it herself at the beginning of the show. SmackDown's beating them in the ratings. SmackDown is becoming the A show. Well, I think it's time she needs to reevaluate what she's doing, and she needs to reevaluate it very, very quickly, because just bringing in special guests isn't going to be exactly the one thing that's going to pick their ratings up. You actually have to have matches that are going to impress people and matches that are going to keep people's attention. And I'm sorry, I'm not seeing that on Raw. I mean, I'm more impressed with how Shane's running SmackDown than I am Stephanie on Raw. So that's my honest opinion. You guys can disagree if you want, but until they prove to me that Raw still is the flagship show, I'm not going to be looking forward to anything coming out of Raw, because most of it has been basically BS to begin with, because they just keep giving you the same crap week after week and the same ho-hum show or matches. So that's my opinion. If Fletch is there, we'll give it to him.
Well, it actually goes in my order now, but we'll definitely get to MF in just a matter of moments. But
damn, Dee Dee Woodson, I mean, tell us how you really feel.
Laying it on thick, man. That's all there is to it, and that's why we call it Ridiculously Raw. And she was ridiculously raw with you all right there, and I'm going to be ridiculously raw with you all in just a moment myself. But as far as this goes, I think you guys, with all due respect, a little bit overscored it a little bit. But I'm going to give it between 6 3/4 to 7 out of 10. I will give you guys that. I felt tonight's show was a pretty strong effort. The show moved faster for me than most weeks. They continued with what had been established, adding to the build for the Rumble. And again, they also did some hype for 205 Live, because you got TJ Perkins squaring off against Adrian Neville, which we already know is going to steal the show tomorrow night. And it was a far from perfect show, but it wasn't bad. And now this is where I'm going to get ridiculously raw here. Overall, this show had some bright spots, but it was still a long 3 hours, and several segments felt like they dragged. I don't really feel like they have found a way to have the cruiserweights feel like an organic part of the show yet. And the women's division continues to lack strong character development for anyone but Charlotte Flair. Emelina feels like a running gag at this point, and Nia Jax took a very visible loss, with potentially even more in the near future during her upcoming feud with Sasha Banks. And what about Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins felt like a complete afterthought on this show, especially when he had no involvement in that main event segment whatsoever. And if his rumored match with Triple H is indeed happening, they should find him something else to do until they are ready to start it, even if it's not a match every week. His character is not in a position where it feels like he's speaking truth to power and tearing down the WWE power structure in order to draw out Triple H. He's just another guy at this point who gets disqualification victories over comedy heels. Period.
And they're making him look like a joke.
Amen. Period. End of quotation. End of statement. It's a 6 3/4 to 7 out of 10 for my rating tonight. Good show. If I had to recommend some things, I would recommend that main event segment. I would recommend the Last Man Standing match. I would also recommend the U.S. title match. I would recommend the Cesaro and Anderson match. Also, the opening segment as well. And that's pretty much it. Everything else on this show, skip it. So that's all I can say on that. So, and of course, next week, you got a humongous show next week. I mean, you got Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is going to be there. Yeah, he's going to be promoting his new movie, The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. I mean, Could he be there for something else? You never know, because where's Raw? Where's the Royal Rumble event going to be? His hometown, San Antonio, Texas, the Alamo Dome, 20 years ago. He knocked off Psycho Sid to win the title. He gave us a big moment. And then 10 years ago, he gave us another great moment in the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, AT&T Center, him and The Undertaker, with the greatest two-man stretch in Royal Rumble history when it came to the final two men. And that's why that Royal Rumble match was one of the greatest of all time. 5-star classic, no question, because of that interaction at the end. What could he have something in store for us this year? I don't know. And then you also have the appearance of Michael Bullock's all-time favorite wrestler, The Undertaker. Of course, the rumors have been going around about him going up against John Cena at WrestleMania, but there was another dirt sheet that I recently came across that rumors are going around that they want to have The Undertaker go up against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Could you imagine if they do that? Taker and Roman at Mania? Whoa, that would be something.
Boy, that crowd in Orlando is going to be all Undertaker, no doubt about it.
Of course. 75,000. Can you imagine?
Boy, if that match happens, I feel bad for Roman Reigns because he's going to get crucified by every single member of that crowd there.
Of course, and God forbid if they put him over. Ooh.
Ooh, that's not going to sit well with every single member of that crowd.
The heat he would get would be right up there with the Cena heat, right up there with the Bautista heat.
But wait a minute, guys. What if that heat is good enough to solidify a Roman Reigns heel turn?
That's what I was just thinking. Could this be the sign of a heel turn?
Because here's the thing, and I guess I'll give my overall review now.
Yeah. And also give us a quick thought about next week, if you'd like, about Taker and HBK being there.
Yeah, that's fine. The way I feel it goes like this: 6.25 to 6.5 out of 10 is my rating for tonight's show. There was a lot of good, there was a lot of bad, everything in between. And let me go one step further. Dee Woodson was harping on this, how she was saying that she doesn't believe that Monday Night Raw was not going to be as good because of the past shows that has been. In order for Raw to deliver, and I'm with her, because what SmackDown did last week, all you guys called it a perfect 10. You guys called it the best SmackDown show of 2016. We all solidified it. And on top of it, we said that SmackDown had really starting to solidify themselves as the new A show. As a matter of fact, and she even admitted it. Dee Woodson said it. Stephanie McMahon admitted it. For the first time ever, SmackDown beated Raw in the overall ratings. So, what does Raw do? Panic move. They bring Undertaker, who, oh, by the way, is a SmackDown talent. So I don't know how the hell that happened. If you're Shane McMahon, if you're Daniel Bryan, you should be on the phone right now crying foul to WWE management saying, hey, wait a minute. Undertaker's a SmackDown guy. What's he doing on the enemy show? Unless he's gonna go over there to cause some disruption and cause some mayhem in the house. That's the only reason why you do that. That is like when Randy Orton showed up on Raw and RKO'd Brock Lesnar out of his boots. And then, yeah, vice versa. Lesnar showed up on SmackDown the next night, and we all saw what happened there. F5 right in the center of the ring, and Orton got laid out. So I get why they want Taker there. I understand why Shawn Michaels is there. Hey, San Antonio, there's the Royal Rumble connection, there's the great legacy of him, plus he's promoting a movie. That's fine. But if you're Monday Night Raw, you got to go out of the box. You got to give us, something to sink our teeth into. this is a good time to throw the Universal title up for grabs. This would be the night where, just like what SmackDown did, all the belts have to be up for grabs. All the titles have to be on the line. I'm sorry. Cruiserweight title should be on the line. The tag team title should be on the line. The United States heavyweight title should be on the line. And the Universal title should be on the line. Make it about the championships. Give us a Night of Champions type event, because that's what SmackDown did. And not only that, but they gave us 3 quality matches. We did not see anything bad on that show, and that's why they hit the home run. That's why we gave it a 10 out of 10. If you're Monday Night Raw, you need every man, every woman, every tag team to man up and step up and rise up. Because, oh, by the way, tomorrow night, I should say tomorrow, or as a matter of fact, later this morning at 3 a.m. in the morning, there's a thing going down in Tokyo, Japan, that's called Wrestle Kingdom 11, that's already being projected as one of the greatest events of all time, for God's sakes. So you got Wrestle Kingdom that's about to throw down, it's going to go down tomorrow at 3 a.m. So you got to man up. And you got to follow that. Then on top of that, you're going to have SmackDown Live about to hit you in the face tomorrow, later this evening. And God knows what they're going to bring to the table. I mean, they got a 10 out of 10 last week. They're rolling right now. They're flying high. The ratings are monstrous. They are now the new A show of WWE. And screw all you Raw lovers thinking that you guys are still the number 1 show, because God damn it to hell, you guys are not. You're not. So this is the battle cry from a SmackDown guy on my A show, SmackDown Live, and the Cerebral Smack Talk. You wanna show me that you're still the A show? Then you better go balls to the wall, kick some doors down, and impress my ass next week. Because if you don't, it will be the end of Monday Night Raw, and this war will be dead and buried. We'll need an Undertaker to bury Monday Night Raw 6 feet under. Drop the mic. I'm done. Florio, go.
Whoa.
The gauntlet's been laid down, and
they don't call him the Cerebral Viper for nothing.
And we were all just ridiculously raw with you folks right here. And I may be a Raw guy, but you know what? Even I admit it. SmackDown Live is the A show. I mean, you saw what happened on show number 906 a week ago. That was the greatest SmackDown Live broadcast I ever saw.
And I'll be quite honest, SmackDown Live's been kicking Monday Night Raw's ass.
Duh. Do I even need to say anything else?
Especially after last week.
And I
got the feeling that tonight's show, I think it's going to be another good one.
Oh, it will be, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute, because right now I got to get into my Tony's take on 205 Live. There will be no Impact review again because there was another best of show. Of course, it was all about the Hardys, and rightfully so. And man, that was a fun show. I will admit it. Looking back at all their craziness from last year. So, but the Impact reviews will return next Monday night on Ridiculously Raw on January the 9th. So, yeah. So I'll get into all that. But for right now, let's dive right on into 205 Live on the WWE Network. And our first match was Tony Nese going up against Cedric Alexander. Tony Nese won it in 6 minutes and 15 seconds. 2-star match. Too much BS around Fox and Gulak. These two are capable of so much better. It was average at best. So I'm just going to move on Then it was Mustafa Ali going up against John Ernett, a.k.a. Mr. 450. Mustafa Ali won the match in 2 minutes. No rating to a dud. A good and decisive win for Ali in his hometown. But John Ernett was injured on that show. And he started, I guess a friend of his started a GoFundMe for him. So, because, he doesn't have the health insurance because WWE doesn't cover anybody who's not under contract. So, all right. Then you had that gentleman's duel with Jack Gallagher and Arya Daivari. No rating to a dud here. That did absolutely nothing for me at all. I mean, I like Gallagher, but it had 100% too much Daivari, so that was just god-awful. But the main event, though, Rich Swann, the Cruiserweight champion, went up against Adrian Neville, and Adrian Neville won the match in 14 minutes. Far and away the fight of the night. 3.5 stars. I have no problem with the Superplex finish because it played into Swann's back issues and made the attack on Raw and Swann's selling payoff. Evil Earth to Neville is great so far. And overall, that match succeeded because it really felt that both guys were fighting to win and that Neville really hated Rich Swann. So, boy, did that save the show. 3.5 stars, no question about that. So, overall, 6 out of 10. Most of the show felt skippable, but the main event is worth checking out if you're short on time. So that's all I can say on that. So, and then tomorrow night on 205 Live, oh my, Adrian Neville against TJ Perkins, 1-on-1. That should be something really good. So, with all that being said, I'm going to see if I can find some information about the upcoming Impact Wrestling show that's going to go down on Thursday night, which will be the first show of the new year. And we're going to, from what I heard, I do believe Eddie Edwards is going to be defending his championship on that show. So, I don't know exactly what's going down on this show. So, what I do know is I'm definitely going to get into it next week. It's going to be the review of, but what I'm seeing here is something with the Hardys. Yeah, there's going to be, they're going to start taping. They're going to do a lot of television tapings starting on Thursday. So, yeah, it's, so all I know is next week, I'm definitely going to be getting into it. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to bringing you another great year of Impact Wrestling reviews. And I have nothing on the table for right now, but next week I'll get into it. So, so that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw, our first show of the new year. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're gonna do we're gonna do some quick shout outs now, and whoever wants to start it off, it's an open forum on this. So save me for last. I'll set up the future content. So I see MF's ready to go. So MF, quick shout outs if you would.
Yeah, first indeed, I want to give a quick shout out to all the great fans out there that makes Strictly Sports Wrestling Forum, either Ridiculously Raw or Cerebral Smack Talk, the awesome shows that you guys have done. You guys are the best fans in the world. To the super fans out there, we love you. To the friends in junior high and high school days, we love you guys. 2184 crew, you guys have been awesome for me. And more importantly, I just want to wish my fellow colleagues and brothers and sisters in arms a happy new year. I hope you guys have an amazing new year as well. My year it started out all right. I mean, 2 days at the job, nothing too crazy has broken out up to this point. So it's basically status quo. Everything's been fine up to this point. Nothing good, nothing bad. So hopefully it stays this consistent path, I think we'll say. Other than that, that's basically it. So until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We got SmackDown Live. I do have some Lucha Underground, just like Ring of Honor has been doing, just like what TNA's been doing. Ring of Honor's been doing a best of, so nothing is going to be laid out on the table there. And then I do want to announce a special video for Wednesday, because I'll be giving you my thoughts about the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 11 I was thinking about possibly doing it for Cerebral Smack Talk for the next week, but because it's such a big show and the lineup is so huge, I'm going to do an individual video. That's going to be sometime on Wednesday, so keep your eyes peeled on BravesFan95. Until then, you know the routine. Jose and Pounds, I'm out. Good night. Mike Bullock, it's yours, my friend. Go ahead.
All right, of course, a special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or the Cerebral Smack Talk or, of course, Strictly Sports. We thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, shouts to, to all of our super fans. You guys know who you are, and of course, our friends from our high school days. You guys know who you are. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to wish my colleagues here, Michael Fletcher, Dee Woodson, Anthony Florio, a happy new year. Let's hope this new year will be a better year than 2016, and let's hope for some more good moments in the world of sports. I mean, it's all going to start this weekend with the NFL playoffs getting underway, so can't wait to see how that all plays out. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, this is Mike Bullock, the Phenom Mike Bullock, saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up, talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. So, Florio, take us home.
What about Dee Woodson?
So Dee Woodson. I'm sorry. I forgot about that. So your shout out, Dee Woodson.
I'm not usually here, so that's understandable. I do want to give a shout out to the guy who took my son back to college today, since I had to work today. Shout out to my coworkers. Fletch was talking about how uneventful his work's been. Well, mine's been the exact opposite, because I just got off on New Year's Day of a 21-hour work shift. So yeah, it's been very eventful for me. So shout out to people at church, friends, family. Happy New Year to you guys, and I will definitely see you all tomorrow for the Cerebral Smack Talk. So it's all yours, Florio.
All right. Good to hear Dee Woodson, and looking forward to that. And yes, of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our projects as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout out, of course, to Dee Woodson and her family, as always, the first family of our show. And of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, and our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. And of course, we can't forget about our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, and Rob Parsons. And of course, last but not least, the man responsible for all of this, the hardcore pipe bomb himself, Derek Ferreira. And I'll save the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night. And of course, upcoming content. Of course, like MF said, tomorrow night, 10:30, as he said, 10:30 tomorrow night, we will have our first Cerebral Smack Talk of the new year. And, we're going to talk about SmackDown Live. And on SmackDown Live tomorrow night, The Miz will defend his Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Dean Ambrose. And also announced for that show, get ready for this, friends. AJ Styles and John Cena. We're going to have ourselves a contract signing, my friends. Oh, yeah. They're going to sign the contract for their WWE Championship match at the Royal Rumble. Contract signings, they don't end
well.
Amen to that, Bullock. You knew that was coming. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that tomorrow night. So our review of SmackDown Live, MF's Mikey's Mindset on Lucha Underground and some other things if he has anything. And that's that. And then Friday night, 10:30, we will have Strictly Sports, Football Friday. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter show this time around because we only have 5 games on the docket, 4 NFL, 1 college. We're going to preview the 4 NFL wildcard playoff games. Oakland Raiders against the Houston Texans, Detroit Lions against the Seattle Seahawks, Miami Dolphins against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers. And then, of course, we will also preview the college football playoff national championship game, a rematch from last year. We're getting it again. Clemson and Alabama one more time in Tampa. And we're looking forward to that on that show Friday night. And then we'll close it out with our final NFL power rankings of this season, retroactive to week 17. And that will do it. So, and then nothing on the weekend. Of course, our next weekend will be on the 28th and 29th for the Royal Rumble. So that's it. So that'll do it for this. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's ridiculously over. Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Hope you all have a very happy new year, and let's hope this year will not be a year of hard times like last year was. Hopefully the close to home debts will be kept at a major minimum. I do emphasize minimum. And hopefully we'll have a lot more positivity this year. I'm really hoping for that. So that's that. So until Cerebral Smack Talk on MF's channel, Braceway 95 tomorrow night, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.